From high above Times Square in Midtown Manhattan, this is the third most listened to show in all of America. My name is Glenn Beck. You know, I wrote the words to this theme song this year, and they are words that I believe to the core of my being. We just have to remember who we are, and we will be the key. I'm going to post this on the free newsletter today at glennbeck.com, but if you're watching on the Insider Extreme, Dom, can you take camera 2 here from behind and show what's on my screen? This just came in from Phil Kerpen. It is the Obama way of subverting the Constitution. I mean, this is his agenda. Look at this, Pat. This is his agenda. Go up a bit on 2, please. There you go. Thank you. So here's his agenda. Everything comes down from Obama up at the top, and you have cap and trade. The dotted lines are the way it's supposed to work. Cap and trade. Dotted line goes to the House. It passes the House. It fails in the Senate. Internet regulation. It's supposed to go to the House and Senate. It fails in both. Union card check. It passes in the House, fails in the Senate. Debt commission fails in the Senate, never gets to the House. Healthcare. The Senator Brown victory, it should have sent a message, but then it went to the House and the Senate. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. It passed in the Senate. But then if you pass, you see how he's blocked every step of the way. Phil Kerpen made this chart to show how he is subverting the process.
That's pretty interesting, yeah.
Cap and trade, he goes around the House and the Senate, and he goes down to the EPA. Internet regulation, he goes past where it fails in the House and Senate and goes to the FCC. Union card check, he gets Craig Becker nominee. It fails in the Senate, and so he gives it possibly a recess appointment. Debt commission, it fails in the Senate. He issues an executive order. Healthcare, reconciliation. He has subverted the process, the legitimate process, every step of the way. And nobody seems to have a problem with this. My thanks to Phil Kerpen for this. Phil, we got to show this on television. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. We'll include this in the free email newsletter today so you can see this, and because it's so clear. And when you look at it, you say to your friends, "Okay, show me how is this American? How is this the American process?" I can't think of it. But this isn't it. I have a friend who will remain nameless, who has a friend who will remain nameless. My friend who will remain nameless is not a progressive. His friend is. His friend said, "You know what? You got to see some of the things that are going on in Washington." Now, his friend knows who he is, knows he's friends with me. And he said, "Okay." He said, "I'd like you to go to a private, closed-door, progressive meeting in Washington, because some pretty big names are going to be there." He said, "Okay." So he goes down. He brings down his video camera, and he goes in. And they said, "Oh, you can't bring in your video camera. You can't video record this." He said, "Oh, okay." So he left his video camera there. They didn't take away his cell phone. They didn't say he couldn't record the audio. And he recorded the audio. I'm going to give you one piece of what many, many things that were said that we will be exposing here in the next few days. This one is from Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer, not thinking that he's being recorded, is talking about a new process. You know, the Constitution. See, I show you this chart from Phil Kerpen, and you see how they're just subverting everything. They're just going around everything. Well, Chuck Schumer, he has an idea, too, and he shared it in a room full of progressives plus one. And here's what he said.
Look, this is something that people have looked at over in the past, so you can't just rush it out. You have to really study it carefully, and that's what the hearings, I'm chair of the Rules Committee, and we have jurisdiction over this, is intended to do. There have been some very interesting papers written that say that the constitutional right, for instance, of the Senate to make its own rules supersedes the two-thirds, that you can't change the rules, but only when Congress writes new rules at the beginning of each Congress, every 2-year period when we reorganize ourselves. That's something we want to explore.
I bet you do.
I bet you do. So let me see. You got to play by the rules that are set out in the Constitution. You got to play by the rules, and if you want to change those rules, you have to have 2/3 vote to change those rules. Unless, and there's something we're exploring, you just set out new rules at the beginning of the year. Excuse me?
Where does it say that in the Constitution?
Where
we can supersede the Constitution if we want to, if we decide to at the beginning of the session? What?
Why would you have the whole 2/3 thing? Why not just say, you know what, it set out your own rules at the beginning of the year? But this isn't something he stands by. This is something we're exploring. Academically, we're just exploring this. Ways to get around. Ways to, cap and trade, passed in the House, failed in the Senate, give it to the EPA. Internet regulation. Didn't pass in the House, didn't pass in the Senate, give it to the FCC. Union card check. Passes in the House, not in the Senate. Nominate somebody, Craig Becker. Oh, that didn't pass in the Senate. I'll just give it a recess appointment. Debt Commission doesn't go by the Senate. Just to do it executive order. Healthcare, doesn't look like you can do it the right way. Do it through reconciliation. And if that doesn't work, what is the new thing they're calling it now? The new where it's just nobody even has to vote on it. It's a slaughter rule. Don't even vote on it. It's something they're exploring. I don't think. I mean, if this isn't if this were a company, this company would be the most evil company on the planet. Can you imagine having tape of one of its chief officers? Let's say it's Enron. Let's say it's Exxon. And we had tape of one of its chief officers saying, you know what, look, the law says this, but we're exploring some other ways to get around the law. If we had on tape, how long do you think before that officer would be fired? If we had on tape as many pieces of evidence of corruption that we have in Washington, do you think any company would survive? No. Why? Because you'd stop using them. You'd stop giving them money. You'd stop buying their products. You would boycott them. But see, by law, you must buy their products. And they're about to give you more products. More products that work as horribly as all the other products that don't work. And they will force you to do it. And then they're going to come in into your business and they will tell you that you've got to run your business as they run their government. They will force you into corruption. Look, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. Holy cow. Well, I'm glad that they're working on how to get around the laws and the rules. Chuck Schumer and those in Congress, you should ask yourself in today's world, if anything is really ever not heard, you should ask yourself, what I'm saying right now, do I mind coming out? You should ask yourself, is everything that I have when it's written, is it really just between me and the receiver? Especially those who are in that meeting, you should ask yourself, what did I say? Because we know what you said, and we're going to play what you said. We're just a little busy on healthcare right now. Oh, Gosh, I don't mean to drag out the agony. I don't mean to make you sweat. I hate to do that. You're so busy trying to make my life miserable and everybody else's life miserable. I'd hate to have you lose a second of sleep because you're wondering, what was it I said? I'm sure you said all honest things. Don't miss a second of the broadcast, radio and television. And don't miss tonight our Insider Extreme live from Broadway. You don't want to miss it. Just